How are we doing this Sunday night? Well, you can tell I shaved my mustache, trimmed off around here. I got that nice little Amish look going. So, yeah, it makes it a lot nicer for me. I don't have to scratch my nose as much. Them big old long octopus hairs coming out of my nose. Like y'all want to hear about that. Now, this afternoon I've been baking bread. And I still got the pan next to me. This is a Italian style bread. I call it Italian style bread. Basically, it's your standard sourdough bread that I had used dehydrated tomatoes, kind of broken up, and then I had put oregano. I use a garlic infused herbal butter that's from Ireland. It's called Kerry Gold. If you don't have it where you're at, I'm sorry, but it's the best butter you'll ever have in your life. When my great-grandmother on my mother's side would make butter from a cat, like I guess Angus. Is it Angus? No, it ain't Angus. What's it called? Black and white. But anyway, she would milk the cow, make the butter and everything else. And Kerry Gold is made from the same type of cow that that my great grandmother had. And the butter is so rich and creamy, it almost tastes like cheese in a way because of the how much milk and everything, fat and everything else is with it. But I use that along with making this. And then when I got done doing the bread thing, yeah, it's an oblong. It's not oblong, but it's it's not a perfect thing of bread, but it's it's a loaf of bread. Not all bread's perfect like you buy in the grocery store, and that's why I like making it this way for. But all I did was I took the knife, I made my slits, and then I took another portion of that butter I had from Kerry Gold and melted it, and I took a baster and I basted the top of it, and then I sprinkled Parmigiano and Romano cheese on top of that, and I baked it for 35 minutes, and boom, here she is. Now, the tomatoes that I used are in my little bag right here, and there's some green ones that have a little discoloration to it, and here's a nice red one here. I had to rip them apart. Even though they're dry, they're still kind of like a fruit roll-up. They're kind of well, I'll show you. I mean, they don't break. You actually gotta tear and pull like that, and to use it in the bread. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this and put it in a food processor, and I'm going to try to grind this up as much as possible. Or what I might just do is I might just stick it back in the dehydrator and set a higher temperature on it and dry it out just a bit more to where it'll crumble almost, so that way I can crumble up this bag what I have here, and whenever I decide to make more of this, it'll be easier in everything else. Now, this bread here, I've come to terms that this is like my first tweaking of sourdough bread. So, more than likely, what's going to take place is in the beginning turn of the farmer's market, I'm going to be making this type of bread, and I'm going to put it up there for like $1 to $2 a loaf, and of course I have to have all the ingredients on it, everything else, which I don't mind. But there's very little sugar and there's a very little salt. I think I put maybe 2 teaspoons, no, 1.5 teaspoons of salt and 1/4 of a cup of sugar. And mainly what I did is I got 2 cups of water, I dumped the yeast in the water, and then I dumped sugar on top of that, and I stirred it up and let it sit for 10 minutes. And once it became nice and foamy and frothy from the yeast activating with the warm water and the sugar, and once it got to that stage, I dumped it in the fire, and everything was the starting process. So it's not a super sweet bread. It's not super salty bread. There is a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but as far as content wise, there's more garlic and tomato and oregano than there is anything. So, but this is going to be my farmer's market bread. Now, I know as soon as I get my processor's license, you know, I can start making jams and jellies and all that kind of stuff. But I am going to make a regular bread, and I'm going to make this Italian style bread. So, as I call it Italian style bread, because my great grandfather was a Sicilian, and he was an immigrant. Actually, he was born in the U.S. Well, he was born in U.S. waters, and but you know, technically he was a U.S. citizen, even though he wasn't really a citizen yet. And then my great grandmother, she was from France. So, and this is stuff they used to fix, you know, stuff like this periodically. So that's why I just call it Italian bread, even though it smells more like a pizza and a calzone. But it is what it is. But yeah, it turned out great. I love it. I got 2 loaves. I got one for me and I got one for somebody else. And later on this week, I'm going to critique and tweak something else besides Italian style bread. I'm going to work on some other stuff and see how it turns out, how everything goes. And if everything goes to plan, I'll have 2 types, possibly 3 types of different types of bread to take with me, along with jams, jellies, extract, and you name it. And this is really crazy because I took home ec when I was in junior high. Now, junior high down here is middle school. And I also took home ec through high school. And one of the other reasons why I took home ec during high school is because I was basically the only guy in a class full of girls. You know, who wouldn't want to do that in high school? But anyway, I always loved cooking. I always loved the culinary type of things. That was like one of my choices, kind of like before I became a truck driver, is I was possibly debating on going to culinary school. But me and school really don't get along too well. And so that's why I just got my CDL. I drove across the United States and kicked up my heels and tore up a bunch of shit and had fun doing it and partied like hell, and you know. But since I don't drive anymore because of my accident, I got time that I can do stuff like this and, you know, create things and tweak things around and kind of shape things in my own kind of form and have fun doing it. And most of all this came out of my garden, and of course I still got tons of salsa and all kinds of other stuff sitting on the shelf from over the summer. And you know, I use a lot of family recipe kind of things for like pickle brines and things for making bread and everything else. Yeah, I just wanted to share this. I mean, this, you know, it's not going to be a long video, nothing crazy, nothing insane. But if you had smell-o-vision, man, you would love this. Like I said, it smells like a pizza. And just listen to it. Hold on. Hear that thud? That's how you know it's done, because it sounds hollow. It's a little crispy on top because that's where I put the Parmesan and Romano cheese on it. But yeah, I mean, it's great. I can't wait to dig into this. I would take a slice of it and a few other things and dig it on a camera, but I got no twofers, and I look like a jackass trying to suck on a watermelon. So I'm not gonna do that and give y'all a good laugh. But yeah, this is great. Now, like I said, this is one of these loaves are mine. Of course, I guess after I put my fingers all over this, I'll keep this one for myself. And the other loaf in there, I'll wrap up and I'll pass it to the person I told I'd make it for. But, man, this is so good. I swear it smells like pizza. The only thing it's missing is tomato sauce and some pepperoni or prosciutto. And, man, it'd be great. Now, tell you another thing you could do too. Get some meatballs and some marinara. Slice this down a little bit. Put some meatballs and marinara on top of that. Just like that. Man, it'd be perfect. But anyway, that's all I got to say for tonight. Quick video. I know y'all gonna like it. And if you don't like it, sorry about your luck. Have a great night. I'll see you again sometime this week.